Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Shelbyville Now Sports Talk Live. I've got with me Mr. Kenny Parker, Mr. Aaron Parker, Mr. Bill Anderson. Dr. G is in parts unknown today. We'll give a shout out to her if she's
I will
watching.
guarantee you she's on a special time today.
Yeah.
Joe time.
Joe time.
She's on Joe time today.
All right. Guys, we've got some basketball to talk about locally here in Bedford County. Bill, I know you've been out checking things out. Kenny, Aaron, y'all probably been watching what's going on with our county teams. Give us a rundown, Bill, and let's talk
You want
about
to start with Webb first?
Let's start with Webb.
Webb girls are now 25-4, 14-0 in the district. They beat Chattanooga Baylor 81-22. They had a forfeit Tuesday night. It was 2-0. University School of Jackson forfeited, and then Webb beat Columbia Academy 90-36. Also, the boys at Webb are really on a roll. They're 17-10 now. They won all three games this week. They beat Middle Tennessee Christian 84-62, Franklin Road Academy 80-67, and then they beat Grace Christian 72-66. And I believe Webb's won 8 or 9 boys in a row now. It's 8 or 9 in a row they've won.
Yeah.
So they're rolling around pretty good.
So both teams there are going to go into the tournament on a winning streak.
On
The
a good
girls
winning streak.
are what, 25-4?
25-4 and 14-0 in the district.
All right, so both those teams might do well in the tournament. Let's talk now about community.
Community girls, Murfreesboro Magnet, they got beat the other night, 38-28. And then they came back and beat Grundy County 86-49. They are 20-6, 6-0. And then Coach Davis with the boys, 2 more losses to Murfreesboro Magnet 66-56, and they lost to Grundy County 85-66. But the community girls, I think, are set up for a nice run.
What is it? We've talked about the community girls quite a bit. Let's talk about their boys. They're not had the best of season.
Mm-mm.
Okay, are they young?
Yeah.
And they're playing
Hard.
hard.
So the,
Yes.
the
And
games,
they're
the games that
all
I've
within
seen, they've been playing.
10,
Yeah.
12. So that's
They've
they're-
lost some 3 and 4 and 1 and 2
Yeah,
more games, too.
so,
They've just been unlucky.
you know, we talked about playing freshmen and sophomores. It's tough, but you know they're going to be juniors and seniors in a year or so. So let's don't get.
Well, it wasn't
get
long
too
ago.
down
Coach
on-
Davis was in the state tournament, if we
Sure.
remember,
Yeah.
several sub-states a couple years ago.
And I know he'll tell you the small details matter. A deflected pass, a
Sure,
stolen ball, a pass not thrown away, hitting
And-
2 more free throws than
and-
what you would have.
And when you get into close games, I saw this the other night when Cascade Girls played at Huntland. They go into the fourth quarter up by 10, and they're young also. And when you get there, you're playing hoping you're gonna win, not expecting to win, and that's a total different mindset.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if they're young, they're going to be older.
Sure,
Like you
they
always
will
say,
be
Kenny,
older.
they're going to be juniors and seniors.
What are you
So.
gonna put into it?
Exactly. So Cascade, the boys had a scare last night, didn't they?
They did, didn't it? 39-36.
I was talking to. They played. Not making any excuses for them. They played some tough ball here the last few weeks. Last Friday they went to Grundy County and pulled out a win, and they had to turn around, play them on Monday, and pulled out a win, and then went to Franklin County the next night and lost their first regular season game, and then they turned around and played Forest last night, and in their last four ball games have all been senior nights. 3 of them on the road, 1 of them at home. But they said I talked to one of my good friends that went to the game last night. Said Forrest played what was the word he
He
used?
said they were very
Overly aggressive defense.
Very
They were
quick.
trapping quick. He said if Cascade threw the ball against the sidelines, he said the next thing you know, they had 2 guys in the face, throwed it in the corner. There were 2 in the face. Said Cascade did not shoot the ball. He said they may have been 1 for 20.
Well,
and from the 3-point line.
And that's something that
And he said that's something that, and he said it wasn't just one player, it was all of them. And
well, here's the thing about it. They played 3 games this week. It's tournament time.
it's
They might end up playing 4 games in a week if they win.
Mhm.
And this might be good for them getting those 3 games like that. You got to remember, a few years back when Barry Stewart played at Mississippi State in the SEC tournament. They had to play 2 games in one day,
Yeah, I remember that.
and they won the
They
tournament.
won the
that year.
tournament that year,
Yeah,
too.
so you know, these kids, they'll play all day
they're
long.
They're gonna give you
And
what they got.
yeah, and they'll do well.
But he said he said you could look at the way because my friend here has been to most every one of their ball games, but he said you could tell they had dead legs because their shots were all short. One of their best go-to guys for the season, one of the senior go-to guys, I'm not going to say any names, said he went to the foul line last night with 2 1-and-1s, and he said the first time he went, he just barely got the front of the rim. And he's usually, if there's a technical or something, he's the one's going because he's Mr. Consistent. Said when you see shooting like that, you've lost your legs.
Yeah, and then come tournament time, they'll
better
be
get
they'll
them
be ready for that, and they will catch
yeah,
their second win.
And the thing about it, they were playing pretty good ball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Grundy County's pretty good.
Yeah,
And but they got to get their confidence back. They got to get mojo back because it's district tournament time. There's only 4 teams in the district, so the boys are probably going to wind up playing community, and the girls are. I don't know how the girls are going to wind up because there's 4 teams in that region, in that district, and community girls are definitely 1. Forest girls are definitely 2, but the Cascade and Grundy County girls split in the regular season. So I don't know what that'll be. And I know somebody told me the district tournament's at Chapel Hill. So now I think that starts next week. I'm not sure.
I believe that's right.
all right. So we got the boys 23-5 now. The girls, they're still playing hard and fighting hard,
And
they're
getting
young.
better.
They're getting better.
So I was gonna say, just like community boys, we said they were playing a lot of young guys. The Cascade girls are doing the same. I think
Yeah.
they're all freshmen and sophomores,
I think they're playing. I think they're starting 4 freshmen and sophomores.
and they're
getting better.
playing very good.
Next year they'll be a different team.
The next
They'll
year
grow.
or two, they'll be pretty good.
In Central, we got they had a one game this week. Did they
It
back
was
up?
a makeup game
Yeah.
senior night.
Yeah. And then they have one. Do they have one more game before we go to tournament? They will run in right into
Play
the
Warren
tournaments.
County again.
Play Warren County again.
Girls
I'm gonna tell
lost 60-37. Boys lost 77-42.
Warren County boys and girls both impressed me the other night.
Hey, Warren County beat Coffee County the other night. Number 1 team. Well, Coffee
Yeah,
County lost
Warren
2
County
games last
girls.
week. Warren County girls beat Coffee County.
But our girls, Central girls, play hard. Coach is doing a pretty good job. He's coaching to the whistle. It was the Rick Ensel salute. I mean, dedicating the plaque to him.
But one thing I would like to see changed, I said something to Mr. Hickman, I said something to a lot of people at the game. Why? Of course, it was senior night for my daughter, Julia, but when we all go out there, we're facing the visitors. Why on earth would you have Coach Ensel being honored and we're facing the Warren County crowd? Now, one way or the other, you need to be facing the home
the
crowd.
reason that is you're facing the scorers table.
Well, then we need to change it back the way it was before.
Well, if you'll notice, at most places, especially in high school, the scoring table is always opposite the home crowd.
Well, it used to be the opposite up there. It got changed when Coach Thomas was there after that Lawrenceburg brawl. That's what I was told. That's when it changed. But you would think when you're doing an award, you would be facing the home team rather than the visitors. That's what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
I've always.
I don't think the Warren County people
you know-
really wanted to honor Coach Ensel because I'm sure they remember
Well-
Coach Ensel beating him by about 56
Well,
points.
here's the thing about it. Back in the day, every side was a home side.
Yes,
Up
that was
top,
said the
I
other
mean,
night.
so
The
here's
whole
the
place
thing.
was that way.
So everybody got used to sitting wherever they wanted
Right.
to. There wasn't a home and a visitor because there wasn't no visitor section. You got up in the top of that thing if you were a visitor. That's just the way it was. Now,
You're right.
if you're having to sort
Well,
it out, people still going to their favorite seat.
And I say this, Bill, I'm chuckling now.
Okay.
If you set them where they should sit, okay, and you wanted to make the home side, the scoreboard side, then the visiting team should be, their business side should be down there next to where their boys going into the locker room.
I want my students right behind their bench.
Now you tell
That's
me,
what I would want.
hey, you tell me who sits at Central at Shelbyville, Kenny Parker, who sits in the bleachers next to where the visiting boys go in. You and I,
Yeah,
and some of the others. That's where their student body section should be.
right. That's what. Yeah.
I kind of like the way Franklin County does it. Their student body sits at the end that the opposing team is shooting into. At halftime, they flip ends. They go and they'll stare you right in the face while you're trying to
Really?
shoot a free throw.
They've
They
always
got
done
end zone seats, and that's where the home team in the
I've
new
never
gym.
been in Franklin County.
It's like obnoxious. It's really obnoxious. I mean, you're standing there
Well, it
shooting a
should
free
be,
throw,
yeah.
and they got these big pool tubes swinging them up in
you
your
know,
face.
there was mention of that in the collegiate and in the pro about that people
Yeah.
being in behind the benches. I mean, behind the goals, doing that kind of stuff, especially in college and college ball.
Well, you go to Franklin County, you're down 10 points before you start the game because that attributes to a whole lot of missed free throws
Sure, it does.
and a lot of heckling because you got these kids talking these other kids out on the floor, getting them all.
You go to, and here's the thing: you go to all the different courts, you go to all the different venues. Every goal is 10 foot high.
Yep.
Every 3-point line is the same distance. Foul shots is still the same, but the site that you're looking at the ball is totally different.
Yep.
You go to a Cascade and play at Cascade, which is a big gym, but then you go to a small gym like Huntland or the old community. The dimensions are the same, but the depth perception, you go a lot of, if you'll notice, a lot of teams, when they make it to the state tournament, they have trouble shooting at MTSU.
Yes.
Yeah. They have to adjust.
And the ones that really have to adjust, and they will tell you, are the ones that play the early day games because of all the light.
Yeah.
Now, you notice what they started doing at middle, throwing the drapes down so they darken it up. But
Right.
a lot of
Helen Raby says hi.
Miss
Hey,
Helen.
Helen. So the tournament teams that we got to watch probably to go is the Cascade boys and the community girls. They probably will go farther than the rest of the teams. You never know. We want to get out.
Both web teams. Both web
Yeah,
teams.
both web
take a run.
teams.
and the way they do things in the private schools, they don't go the same kind of format that the others do. So it's a
little different situation. All right, so now let's shift over to college basketball. What we got going on there, Bill? How the Lady Raiders doing right
They
now?
lost 2 in a row last week, but they did beat Western Kentucky to get off the losing streak. Coach Henson was not too happy the other night about losing those 2 games.
Yeah.
It's good talk to him, though. And they got
I
UAB
agree.
today at 5 o'clock over at Murphy Center.
Okay.
Missouri's got Tennessee today. And Tennessee's going the wrong way.
I know they are. The vibe is not
The
good.
vibe is not good going into the tournament.
Hey.
Bad loss at Vanderbilt. Bad loss against Florida. Not playing real well. Can't seem to score. Have these large droughts. Point guard play not very good. Not where you want to be at the end of the year. Other interesting games today. Alabama and Auburn. Alabama's undefeated in the SEC at Auburn. That ought to be a good one. And then Mississippi State and Arkansas both started off really slow, but getting close to tournament time, they're both playing pretty good. I wouldn't want to play one of these 2 teams in the SEC tournament.
Bill,
State's won 4 or 5 in a row.
You're so negative about Tennessee here, Bill. You're
Not
not feeling good. are you?
And it wasn't that way 2 weeks ago.
No, I wasn't. But I mean,
No.
the vibe here has been.
Yeah.
It really bothered me. We draw the play up to the Phillips kid.
You know what
I wish he would have done.
He
it.
sort of
Came over.
reminded me of the kitchen sink.
Oh, really?
So when you put the plug in the kitchen sink, the water fills up and everything is all good. But somebody's pulled his plug and
He's yeah.
like
He's
he said, he's
spiraling.
Take that Florida game. They had 2 runs of 28-0 in that game. They
Yeah.
get beat. These scoring stretches where you just can't score and go 5 and 10 minutes.
Make a call and get them motivated, Bill.
Come on, you got it.
And Alabama and Tennessee play on Wednesday.
They do.
Yeah.
Don't they? That's
Yeah.
gonna be a good
Yeah,
game.
and then you go Tennessee beats Alabama, and then you're all these.
But Tennessee
Somebody's
can't-
put the plug back.
If they can't start scoring, I don't know who they're going to beat.
Yeah.
And for all the defense in the world that I know Tennessee plays, that was the sorriest defensive game I've seen them play against Vanderbilt in a long time.
Maybe Barnes will get them ready for the
Be
tournament.
honest with you, I didn't watch it.
At the end of the game, we gave that 1 3-point shooter a guy that he beat you at the buzzer with a 3, but we just let him shoot it basically. And
Nobody was around him.
nobody.
They looked like they all packed in the paint.
And he was really your only guy that you knew could make a 3 for Vanderbilt consistently. Is that one guy
And what did he do?
knocked her down.
And you know what? It's cost Vanderbilt some money.
It did. I bet they're happy to pay that $250,000.
Where they, that
Storm the court.
Uh-huh.
where they stormed the court. That used to be the thing. What they call that? The what's the name of the Vanderbilt's gymnasium? There was
Memorial Magic.
Memorial.
that where they always that was a tradition, them winning those kind of games and that happening. And
Elevated floor.
Let's talk about that just a second. Do you feel like that teams are at a disadvantage or advantage going into that such a situation where your teams are in the end zone in the end?
It looked to me
On
like
the
the other night they
baseline.
changed it. They weren't on the baseline last night. Did y'all notice that in the game?
I wasn't paying attention. But
They were not on. They were on the
if I'm
sideline.
Vanderbilt,
Really? Okay.
if I'm Vanderbilt, I love it.
I
do
know.
too. I don't know why you would have
But
changed it.
another team, it's hard for a coach to when you've got your teams on the other end. It's hard for a coach to get your players' attention. I mean,
Are they on the sides?
It's
now?
the way it was on TV the other night. They were on the sides. And that
It
was the
was-
first
yeah.
time I'd seen a Vandy game at home in a while.
maybe
I don't know
they've
why.
changed it.
Unless Stackhouse wanted to change it. I
Okay.
do think give the guy some time. He can get play. I think Stackhouse is pretty good. I really do. He has recruited some really good athletes, and actually people don't realize that he's put several in the NBA from Vanderbilt here in the last few years.
Well, let's shift gears now and let's talk about football. Guys, you would think the NFL season was over with all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes about trades and the draft and what all's taking place. And then you have all these conspiracy theories coming out this week about the NFL being scripted. That was hilarious. And the Titans. What's going on with the Titans, Bill? We hired a lady for our defensive line assistant. And then we got an offensive coordinator from within.
She's actually well thought of. I don't have a problem with that one. My biggest concern.
Here's the thing: the Titans have a defensive line assistant coach. Packers have no defensive line assistant coach, do they? It was you, wasn't it?
no, they do not. No. I wouldn't say I was the assistant coach.
But
I
you
was
were the
guy
only
for the D line.
Yeah, but you and the D and the D line coach were the only two down there.
Correct.
Well, they hire within on the OC, which I kind of saw that coming. Not shocked.
Are they doing that to save money?
No, it's not about saving money. I think that if you were going to do that, though, you would have removed Downing after the DUI when stuff started going
Shifting them
downhill,
on in there.
and went ahead and shifted him in there and see where you were, and you didn't.
Yeah.
So I was hopeful we'd go outside. But what really bothered me was we got a new offensive line coach, and we hired within on that too. And this guy was the O-line coach at Colgate before he came to the Titans. And I think your O-line was a problem.
Well, I don't think the O-line was a problem because of the players that they had to put there.
I haven't seen us develop players in the O-line in a while either.
And one of the players that had been a staple made a comment the other day, and he knows he's not coming back.
Yeah, he does.
He's just about the one pretty much said, I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to play somewhere else.
I bet he can play more.
If somebody gets,
I don't think he's wanting to leave. I think
No.
he just knows the reality of it.
Yeah, he
You
knows
talking about
they're
Luan?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he
30
knows they're
games
not-
in 3 years.
you know,
or
and
whatever.
he's taking up
due
a lot of cap
50
space.
million. He's due 50 million this
14
year.
million, 14,
And
14.
then if it's
Well, if he was the general manager, he would make that same call.
oh,
probably.
sure.
I think and I believe he said that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just don't see a team taking a big risk on him. If they can get him cheap, maybe,
If
but
they
he's not
get
going
him
to play a
cheap,
full
but
season.
No, he's not going.
But I will go back to the difference of when Coach Fisher was even here and you had Floyd Reese and we were developing 3rd, 4th, 5th round offensive linemen. Remember old Big Country? We can sit and go back to all those linemen.
Country.
I mean, we didn't take first
Yeah,
round.
that was
Now we're busting on first round picks around here with linemen, 2nd round picks that can't play, not only tackle, can't play guard.
What?
So you missed on the player or you're not developing the
They
player.
haven't missed on some of them. They ain't been able to re-sign them.
Well, you didn't want to. Who wanted Chance Warmack's out of the league? Wasn't 5-6 years bust. Conklin had the knee problem. Didn't re-sign him. He was pretty good. I think he got overpaid.
And then he went.
But
Then you got the Panda total bust.
He's with the Browns.
He is with the Browns.
And is one of the top salary guys in that. I mean, they've had some good ones.
They missed on some too.
They've chosen not to pay. The one they really missed on was the guy during COVID from Georgia.
And apparently ratings.
And
Apparently.
Well, if you're looking right now at the situation, and you can go to free agency and draft and get 2 positions for your offensive line, what 2 positions are you going to try to beef up? Left tackle and right guard. Is that what you're going to try to do?
They got a good right guard if you sign him. Nate Davis is good if he can stay on the field.
They need 2 linemen.
Yeah.
And they need another tackle.
I'm going to have a center. I would imagine Ben
It's
Jones.
going to be interesting with Ben Jones.
And I don't
does
think
well.
Jones will be
I
back.
don't either.
And I, to be honest, I say this. I think the guys in the league know Jones is not going to be back because they put him in
The Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl.
I think
Yeah.
I think
And that
so,
was
too.
that was a good move.
Yeah.
Somebody been in the league about 16 years like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That
He's a
was
pro's
good,
pro,
that was-
too.
Yeah.
Tough guy.
But I
Hold it.
think they're looking for an interior lineman and a tackle. I think the guy they got on the right side is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I am not against the guy they got from North Dakota State a couple of years ago. I think he's going to be a player. I think he needs to move inside.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it's obvious watching his play. He's better on the left
Obviously.
than he is on the right.
I remember
And I know it was just one game that he played the right
Yeah.
tackle. I mean, the left
Left.
tackle.
it was last year against the 49ers. And
And
he played Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa did not do a thing.
Bosa
that game.
wanted to go to the other
The
side.
Yeah, we were
Yeah, that's a
chipping and
good
double
sign.
teaming too,
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
he played well.
But you got to look at that game. About that week of practice is all he had at the left tackle side. But that's where he had always played at North Dakota State. I think he's going to be okay.
Well, I'd have rather had him at left tackle than who we had out there the last
Well,
6, 7,
I'm
8
just-
games. He's
Now, and on
Daly's bad.
he did make a lot of mistakes of procedures and this kind of stuff. But here's the thing with the O line that gets mistaken. Who's the captain of the O line that's calling the blocking schemes and all down on the bottom?
Yeah.
That is the player. You just look at the 5. Somebody's got to be calling out the blocking scheme.
Yeah.
Usually the center.
Usually you would think
And,
Ben Jones
that's
would be doing
Ben Jones. Now,
Yeah.
if Ben Jones is not back, you've got to have somebody. I think the guy they put in there when Buck Jones
Yeah.
was out didn't do a
Yeah.
bad
He
job.
played 2 games and
But
did
that-
pretty well.
That has got
your
to
left
be.
guard. Moved him to center.
Well,
And-
they got to be pretty intelligent at that spot.
Brewer's
It's
just
not
not
all
very big.
just
He's not.
He's a
not very
smaller
big.
guy, but
Yeah.
he's also very tough.
Very
guys.
athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've got the line situation to deal with. What do you think? You think Tannehill now is a lock?
I do. When they brought Kelly back, that tells me they're going to bring Tannehill back, try to roll it one more year, roll with it the way it is. I also think that I was thinking there was a chance the Titans might make a move for Trey Lance, because I, in my heart of hearts, do not believe Tom Brady's retired until he's retired.
He turned in his paperwork.
He may have turned it in, but
I'm gonna tell you.
if San Francisco picked up that phone and Purdy's not ready and said, "You come play for us," I think he'd go play.
I don't know how the Titans are going to go because you don't know how the GM is thinking. You don't know how he's evaluated the talent for what he perceives. Of course, Coach Variable's they're working together.
It
and
seems like that's closer. There's a closer
that,
mesh there.
that's got to be.
I think that was an emphasis in
Yeah.
hiring as
And
well.
that's got to be, hey, well, what are we thinking about here? What are we thinking about there? Who we got out? What do we need to draft? I know they got the Burke guy last year. I think they got to have a speed receiver.
Me too.
They got to have somebody
Yeah.
even leaving.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think you got to go to free agency to find somebody, because I don't think you don't have enough time to develop one of these young receivers coming up unless they're
Yeah.
Now, the wide receiver
supernatural.
market is
you know.
so expensive right now.
Yeah.
We're not going to have cap money to do
Well,
that.
and
Draft.
that's
Another guy I feel bad for right now is Derrick Henry because he's had he's the best running back in the NFL in my opinion, and I feel like we might be. Hopefully, we're not in this rebuilding stage right now because I feel bad for him because kind of hopefully not wasting his.
I believe this
elite
is him and
years.
Tannehill's last year under contract is this year, and both of them's contracts will be up.
And so
I believe that's right.
I want him to have a
I think they
great
both career,
career, and you know,
But also, the Titans got a player personnel guy from the Packers this week.
yes,
Supposedly, he's supposed to be an up and comer and a
he's
pretty good
a
hire.
great man, great.
You know him. You've
Yes,
been around him.
Yeah.
Why would he have made that move? Is it a bigger job for him?
Okay. Of course, we got our last game coming up tomorrow. Bill, are you still sticking with your Kansas City pick?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. All these pundits keep taking the Eagles. I'm going to be a Todd Bobo contrarian better, and I'm going to go the other way away from the masses. Taking the
Okay.
Chiefs and Mahomes.
All right.
Better quarterback, better coach.
Okay.
But I do think the Eagles have the better roster
yes.
and the most talent. But I think being there means something.
Key to the
Been there
game.
twice.
What's your key to the game?
I think Kadarius Toney's going to make some plays and surprise some folks. Kid they got from the Giants at wide
Yeah,
receiver.
yeah.
He's got a nif. He
Yeah.
can make plays that normal people can't. But at the end of the day, this is all about Patrick Mahomes, healthy, throwing the football, and making those special plays no one else can make.
Key to the game.
I think we talked just for about 10 minutes on it how important the offensive line was for the Titans. I think the Eagles' offensive line may be the best one in the last 15 years.
They're
Yeah.
good.
I mean, J.C. Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson. Their right tackle, I can't remember what his name is, but he's 6'8" and can move. The offensive line is the most important position on the field, other than quarterback, in my opinion. And I think they're just going to eat up the Chiefs' offense or defense. So I
Okay.
think
That running game's going to do
the
it for
running
them.
game, that just the offensive line, if they want to pass, they're not getting to Hurts. I think the Eagles, because of that O-line.
I don't think you want to get to Hurts.
That's enough. Yeah, definitely.
Key to
I
the
don't want to
game,
get to
Kenny
him. I want
Parker.
him throwing the ball.
I think the Eagles defense is going to surprise you.
Okay.
That's
I
all I'm
think I think
Mhm.
I think the pressure they're going to put on Mahomes, I don't think he's going to have the typical Mahomes type day that everybody's thinking he will.
Okay.
I think they're going to put some pressure to him, and
I
the-
kind of lean toward what you're saying.
those backyard improvs are going to catch up with you
Yeah.
someday, and it may be tomorrow.
If Travis Kelsey catches 7 or 8 passes, the Eagles are going to have a long day. But if they can hold him to 3, 4, 5 catches in that range, he makes those clutch third down catches. I mean, he moves those chains for him, and sometimes he'll break loose from that and take it on down the field. So I think whichever Kelsey brother has the best day is where the team that's going to win. I think it's a Kelsey
But
game.
historically, how have teams done really well against Mahomes? And it wasn't pressuring. If you think about it, the Titans have actually played the Chiefs pretty tough.
Yeah.
You want to contain him a lot like you do Hurts. I don't think you want to blitz Hurts either.
Right.
You want Hurts to stay in that pocket
Yeah.
and throw the football. Same thing with Mahomes. You really don't want to rush him and flush him. You want to keep him there
Yeah.
and make him throw the ball.
Make him throw that
And
ball
and
to the
that's
spot.
thing. That's what I'm referring to, the Eagles defense.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have to blitz him because I think their 4 up there, their 4 down guys are good enough that they
they're
can
good
scheme, that they
Yeah.
can scheme and bring one in and drop one and
You bring 2 guys out of his face downfield,
and the thing,
and he's got them around him,
Mhm.
he's going to eat you alive.
and if you can take
He'll screen you to death.
this is a word that everybody uses. It's probably one of the shortest words in the vocabulary in the dictionary. The word if.
Mhm.
If.
Take away Kelsey, which is his.
That's his go-to.
That's his go-to. You got to take Kelsey away.
I know historically the Titans normally aren't very good with tight ends, but whenever we play the Chiefs, one thing I always notice is that even when Kelsey will catch a couple balls, but as soon as he catches them, we're hitting them and tackling them. And if you can get him flustered, because that's one thing I noticed that when Kelsey he can get flustered if he's getting tackled very
Yeah.
quickly. and if he loses his,
He loses his edge up there. Yeah.
and that affects the game too. And I think the Eagles definitely could do that the way they
Yeah.
fly around.
That was one of his pundits on 104.5 this morning that they had on their national show.
What's a pundit?
A pundit
Well,
square.
This guy was made the comment that
What was
everybody had
his
been
punt
worried
average?
about. We were worried about Mahomes' ankle or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, what you need to be more worried about is he was saying Jalen Hurts' shoulders hurt way more than people know. After this game's over, they're going to tell you it was a month-to-month injury, not a week-to-week injury. Now, I couldn't tell that much difference the last couple of games with him necessarily.
He ducked his head and ran the ball. And he took some hits.
And eventually that's going to be his undoing.
Yeah.
Because that 3rd and 1, when you're running him like that in a single wing,
Well,
and you're taking your lineman and pounding on that poor guy, that's a career short.
Hey, and you don't know, Jalen Hurts is a gamer.
Yes, he is.
He's a player.
Yeah.
If you've seen him in the weight room, the weights. You realize when he was in high school, he was one of the national power lifters.
Wow.
Squats
He is-
over 600 pounds.
He is phenomenal
Yeah.
in the weight room to the point where at Alabama they made him quit lifting, would not allow him to lift so much. And you don't know how much of that, they've all got this we call dog in them.
Yeah.
He's a dog and he wants it in his hands, and you want a dog that wants it in his
Exactly right.
hands.
Well, if
That
I'm running
short
him
yardage-
into 350-pound men, I darn sure don't want a 300-pound man behind his back hitting him. That's on my team,
Yeah.
pushing him forward.
Well,
He's a Steve McNair type guy.
Yes.
He's very.
He is.
but he's a world class athlete.
Oh, yeah.
gosh.
And Mahomes is not a world class athlete. He's just a fantastic quarterback.
He is.
So you got
He's
a
a better
athlete.
athlete. He's a better athlete than you think, too.
Well, yeah, he can
he's
get
not
away
a-
and
he's
run.
not a- he's
No.
not a-
I'm just
nobody's
saying that
taking that away from him.
edge for athleticism goes to Jalen.
And I've heard a lot of people, coaches even saying that with these young kids, that Mahomes is kind of hurt. Everybody wants to be Mahomes and be able to throw with their left and their right.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ain't but one guy can do that, and it's Patrick Mahomes.
And
Well,
but before his career's over, he'll be a top 3 quarterback
Of all time.
if not one.
There's a video
He's gonna be-
circulating around the internet right now of this 8th grader that's ambidextrous.
Yes,
Oh,
I
Have
saw
you
that.
seen that?
I did.
You got
He's
Mahomes
right.
coming,
Also,
and
yeah.
that dude can bomb
That
it
dude
with
can
that left
either
arm.
arm.
It looks
That's
like
right.
it looks like Trevor Lawrence. He's
Yeah.
got the long hair. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does.
He's
see
like
it
he's
either
like
arm.
swoosh.
See, that's where you guys got me because I'm not a social media.
He's-
All right, we'll show you. Ken.
He's not very.
All right.
He's not very social.
Super Bowl, nobody's going to make a change on their call. Dr. Garrett, you don't have the opportunity, so you abandoned us this morning. All right, so we're going to go with our picks like they are, but I got one question for Aaron. Aaron,
Yes, sir.
if you were going to the Super Bowl and the Packers were in the Super Bowl, what would you be doing right this minute?
Right this minute, Saturday, the day before, we'd probably right now have a walkthrough, be going
Okay.
through like the game plan, all that stuff. And then as soon as we got done there, we'd be heading to the stadium.
Would
So-
you be nervous?
I wouldn't be nervous because I knew that I really don't have any effect on the game. I would be, my heart would be pumping out of my chest out of excitement. I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
being able to work in a Super Bowl like that. Hopefully one day, but definitely we'd be at the stadium setting up, getting the locker room, all that stuff ready.
If you were to win the Super Bowl, are you getting a ring?
I would say so.
I
yeah.
bet you do. Everybody gets one, don't they?
Yeah.
That would be cool right there.
That would I can't even imagine. One of my good buddies I went to college with, doing equipment at MTSU. He's still with them right now. He did a internship like I did with the Rams. He's been there the last 2 years, and last year he was with the Rams,
Right.
and he's got a Super Bowl ring.
Cool.
Antoine Ivory. I talked to him when we played the Rams this year, and I just said, how was it? And he said, Aaron, I can't even explain.
You
Yeah.
got one on my phone too where you was working with somebody and had a Patriots Super Bowl ring.
Oh yeah, a while ago, one of the assistant trainers at MTSU, he did an internship as an athletic trainer with the Patriots.
Right.
And one year that they won the Super Bowl ring, and he wore it to work one day, and that thing was probably about all past his knuckle almost.
I got a picture of it
Massive.
on my phone.
It's
That
unreal.
airs.
And I said, just let me wear it.
Let me
He said,
touch
he said, no.
So that's not one you can wear very. That's just too big, man. It wouldn't even
It's-
fit. It would fit past my knuckles.
It's pretty big. but-
Yeah. That'd be cool though.
Oh,
All
my
right,
goodness.
guys, thanks for watching this morning. We want to encourage you to get out and support your county basketball teams, Community, Central, Cascade, and Webb. And
Next week, I'm probably plan on doing this again. I'm not sure I'll be here next week. Softball season starts next week,
yeah,
and Harris Middle School is having a play day at the park behind Calvary Baptist Church, Old Musgrave Park. So there'll be a lot of middle school. It's a middle school play
right,
day.
yeah.
So the temperature, I've been checking it out.
It's gonna be warmer.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 47 to 37. That's
They said it's gonna warm up next week.
Well, if
it
you don't
is,
get
but then
cold
it's
at the
gonna-
end of the week,
Friday
Oh,
it goes down, and Saturday the high is 47, low is 37. So,
well,
but
so you're saying you might not be able to make it?
well, it all depends on the weather and whether they have it or not. If I'm not here, you got the
Well,
brains will be coming in.
Well, we'll struggle without you. But guys, thanks for sitting down again. Thanks for watching. And before we go, one more time, Eagles, Eagles,
Yes, sir.
Eagles,
Chiefs.
Chiefs. All righty. Have a good one.
And take
See
the
you next
under
year.
51.
You know why he thinks he's picked the Chiefs? Because he thinks he's Chief Noam Howe.
Okay.
Y'all
Yeah.
all just go on. I'm gonna be the
Enjoy the
Chiefs.
Super Bowl.